The anime begins with Gojo Wakana, a young boy who has lost his parents. After moving in with his grandfather, a Hina doll artist, Gojo immediately admires the Hina doll's intricate designs and delicate features, inspiring him to follow in his grandfather's footsteps. One of Gojo's childhood friends discovers his interest in dolls, which enrages her, and accuses him of engaging in a girlish hobby. Years later, Gojo awakens to admire one of his grandfather's Hina dolls and prepares to leave for high school when his grandfather Kaoru asks him about his friends because Gojo is always busy with the shop, which startles him at first. Still, he counters his question by claiming that his friends are mostly busy with club activities, but it soon becomes clear that he still doesn't have any friends. When everyone is talking about their hobbies at school, Gojo feels left out because he believes his interest will be boring to others. While he thinks about it, Kitagawa Marin, the most popular girl in their school, accidentally moves from his desk and starts talking to him, which surprises Gojo because she is the most popular girl in their school. Kitagawa leaves to speak with her friends when one of them mentions a guy who made advances towards her and made fun of her keychain, so she rejects him, stating that mocking someone for their interests was foolish. This statement piqued Gojo's interest and struck a deep chord with him. Following school, two of Gojo's classmates abandon him with the cleaning duty, but Kitagawa comes and expresses her rage at Gojo for allowing himself to be exploited, rendering Gojo speechless. While working on Hina's dresses at home, Gojo notices that the sewing machine has broken down and decides to borrow one from the school club after school hours. When Gojo begins working on the outfit, he is surprised to be discovered by Kitagawa, and he nearly drops the Hina doll but manages to catch it in time. Kitagawa finds Gojo's hobby of making Hina dolls and, rather than being critical, expresses interest in her admiration, which astounds Gojo. When Kitagawa discovers that Gojo can also sew, he begins to undress and asks Gojo to turn a blind eye. Kitagawa soon asks Gojo to look at her and show her the outfit she made all by herself, and Gojo becomes overwhelmed and reacts strongly. Gojo criticizes her work, claiming that it does not resemble the original design, causing Kitagawa to cry. Gojo quickly realizes his error and apologizes. She quickly forgives him and explains that her outfit is a cosplay of a character named Shizuka-tan. She asks Gojo to make it for her because she doesn't know how to use the machine at home. Touched by Kitagawa's compliments, Gojo agrees to assist, making Kitagawa happy, and she offers to help in any way she can. She starts sharing the backstory of the character who irritates Gojo. Gojo admits to Kitagawa that he is unfamiliar with the dating sim game, Slippery Girls 2, which prompts Kitagawa to give him a summary of the series, as well as its mature plot and mechanics, which makes Gojo very uncomfortable. Gojo notices Kitagawa's genuine excitement and enjoyment as she talks about her admiration for the character Shizuka-tan, but when he asks if the game is only for minors, Kitagawa appears to be unaware. Gojo also questions Kitagawa's interest in a game aimed at a male audience, but she explains that gender does not matter when it comes to enjoying something. This statement resonates with Gojo, and he agrees to assist Kitagawa with the cosplay project. She gives them a book on a beginner's guide to cosplay outfits, which makes them both wonder why she couldn't make the outfit. Gojo asks Kitagawa to not worry. They decide to meet for work on Monday because it is getting late at home. Gojo's grandfather Kaoru gets surprised to see him back so early and tells Gojo that the shop will be closed tomorrow as he will purchase a sewing machine. While Gojo is looking through the cosplay outfit making book, he discovers that he will have to take his measurements, which surprises him. Kitagawa visits Gojo the next day and offers him a cheesecake before barging into his room to inspect the brushes he uses for his dolls. This triggers an anxiety attack in Gojo, but Kitagawa snaps him out. Gojo prepares to measure Kitagawa for her cosplay costume but is taken aback by her stunning appearance. He nervously asks if she's okay wearing just a swimsuit, to which she confidently replies, feeling embarrassed, that she's all about the costume. Gojo pushes himself to start the measurements. Kitagawa mentions that shoes usually hurt her feet, and Gojo tries to solve the problem by measuring her foot circumference, but she refuses to sit on his futon. Despite his protests, Gojo reluctantly concedes to Kitagawa's demands. The bust measurements come next, which is another awkward moment for Gojo, but he complies. After that, it comes to her inseam and bust point, but Gojo declines, so Kitagawa decides to take the measurements herself, leaving Gojo in shock and disbelief. Jotting down the last size, Kitagawa Gojo is getting ready for the final one when he notices Kitagawa blushing. Assuming she is overheated, he excuses himself to turn on the air conditioning. After Gojo has completed all the measurements, Kitagawa gives him 2 video games of the character as reference materials and departs. Gojo is caught playing one of the games by Kaoru, and thinks it's because of his age but is surprised to see him taking notes. Gojo has a vivid dream about Kitagawa dressed in her cosplay outfit during the night, which begins innocently but quickly turns steamy, and Gojo wakes up in a cold sweat. He tries to clear his mind of thoughts and focus on the present. When Kitagawa walks down the school hallway, Gojo is filled with conflicting emotions, torn between his feelings for Kitagawa. Kitagawa approaches Gojo for his doll head, thanking him for assistance despite Gojo's efforts to avoid her. When Kitagawa's friends joined Gojo, one thought Kitagawa was making Gojo feel uneasy. Still, Kitagawa insisted that she isn't going so far as to get close to Gojo, causing a minor squabble between the two before they left to go to a vending machine. Gojo reflected on how Kitagawa treated him. Similarly, when they're alone, they overhear a couple of girls discussing the possibility of Gojo dating Kitagawa. Faced with apprehension and confusion, Gojo decides to avoid Kitagawa for the entire day. He tries to avoid her, but she eventually catches up with him and demands to know why he's been acting strangely. Gojo admits that being around her is awkward, and he has overheard people implying they are in a relationship. Kitagawa teases the idea and claims they are already friends, which irritates Gojo. Gojo then assists Kitagawa with the character notes he took and details the items they'll need to create the costume as the two go shopping for cosplay materials. Gojo selects the best fabric, and the two continue their shopping adventure by visiting Swallowtail, a wig store. Gojo is astounded by the vast selection of wigs and recommends a deep violet color to match Shizuka-tan's personality. Kitagawa is taken aback by Gojo's thorough analysis and agrees to buy the wig to trim it by her hairstylist. They leave the wig shop and go to the lingerie store to purchase garters and stockings. Despite his unease, Gojo assists Kitagawa by waiting outside the changing room. A lady is watching them as they leave, envious of their youth and apparent love as the two enjoy a ramen dinner. As they walk home, Kitagawa talks about cosplay by showing Gojo examples and expresses her fascination with male cosplayers. When Gojo doesn't respond properly, Kitagawa questions him about it, and Gojo admits that he is drawn to the dolls' faces and apologizes for his difficulties in expressing his thoughts. Kitagawa notices this and refers to him as a face guy. Gojo takes the cosplay materials and inquires about the designated location for wearing the costumes. Kitagawa explains that there are numerous events and doing it at home. Kitagawa also mentions attending an event 2 weeks later, which astounds Gojo. Gojo returns home from shopping to find his grandfather Kaoru waiting for him. However, Kaoru becomes shocked when he sees a pair of women's stockings in one of Gojo's bags, causing him to fall and be taken to the hospital. Grandpa is in bad condition. While at the hospital, I can see where his concerns are coming from. Miori, Gojo's cousin, offers to have Kaoru stay with her for the next 2 weeks. Gojo agrees to look after the shop while Kaoru is away because he needs time to recover, and Kaoru accepts the offer but requests that some extra clothes and brushes be brought to him. A few days later, Gojo informs Kitagawa that he will not attend school due to his grandfather's accident. Kitagawa offers to assist with the cooking, but Gojo declines, and they exchange contact information instead. Later, Kitagawa mentions that her hairstylist cut the wig for the costume, and as they walk, they come across a bulletin board announcing midterms, adding stress to Gojo's already troubled plans for the next 2 weeks. Kitagawa shakes Gojo awake, and they continue walking, Gojo aware of the difficulties ahead. Gojo receives a phone call at home from someone looking for a tour, which he declines due to a scheduling conflict. However, he agrees after learning that the tour must take place on Saturday to accommodate a friend visiting from France. Gojo agrees reluctantly and gives them time. Gojo is in a bind as he tries to fulfill his responsibilities. After the exams, he appears exhausted and ignores Kitagawa, so she visits him and brings him a beef bowl. Still, she notices the lights are turned off and assumes he's with his grandfather while Gojo is in his room, lamenting his lack of sleep and inability to finish the dress. He remembers his grandfather's advice about loving what you do and comes out of his funk. Gojo's experiences and memories teach him the value of pursuing what you love and the fulfillment it brings, even if you could be better at it. He keeps working, and by the morning, he informs Kitagawa that he has completed the costume. Kitagawa is astounded by the finished cosplay costume but informs Gojo that she will not attend the event. Kitagawa apologizes for giving him the wrong impression and for not communicating with him. Being clear despite her confession, Gojo is relieved, but Kitagawa breaks down in tears. Gojo advises Kitagawa to try on the costume. He soothes her, ties her hair, applies fake lashes, and assists with her makeup. He leaves the room so Kitagawa can put on the costume, and the results are spectacular. Kitagawa looks stunning in her outfit, and she becomes ecstatic and believes she is Shizukuta. Gojo compliments Kitagawa's Shizukutan cosplay and inquires about her experience in the costume, to which Kitagawa replies that she is having difficulty lifting her arms. Gojo notices this and photographs her posing, and they both agree to attend an event. Kitagawa creates an account to upload photos the next day and is motivated to attend the event on the day of the event. Kitagawa is astounded by the number of cosplayers and even runs into a few celebrities. Gojo is uncomfortable, but Kitagawa reassures him. As they approach the photographers, one of them comes to Kitagawa and asks her for her first photo shoot, which makes Kitagawa extremely happy. She even takes a photo with the photographer. A line forms for people to take her picture, and Gojo notices the various cosplays as he realizes that his time with Kitagawa has come to an end because he fulfilled his promise to make her a cosplay. They reflected on their time together. Gojo realizes he has had an extraordinary experience. Kitagawa rushes to Gojo after finishing the photographers, noting her relief that he did not leave. She then claims that her clothes are falling off due to wearing double new bras to make her chest appear more prominent. Gojo notices Kitagawa is suffering from heat exhaustion and that the clothing was not designed for the bras. He takes her to a different location to cool down. Kitagawa cools down inside a building by wiping away sweat and applying a cold patch. Gojo finds cool-down tips that require her to undress, and despite Gojo's reservations, Kitagawa has him unzip her and wipe her back with a towel. They return outside after making adjustments, and Kitagawa apologizes to the photographer and allows more photos to be taken in the shade. Even though the August wind lifts her skirt, revealing markings on her thighs, Kitagawa lets the photographer take more photos. By dusk, Gojo and Kitagawa have returned home. Gojo expresses gratitude to Kitagawa for inviting her to the event. Kitagawa inquires about their next cosplay and reveals that she has 51 favorite characters she wishes to cosplay. Gojo expresses his desire to continue working with her and plans to purchase a dress mannequin to help him with his work, but Kitagawa insists on buying one for him. Kitagawa notices Gojo's drowsiness while searching online and suggests he nap. Kitagawa describes her experience at the event, and Gojo compliments her Shizukutan appearance. This realization astounds Kitagawa because Gojo only uses the word beautiful for things that are special to him. Kitagawa washes her cosplay wig at the Gojo resident's house while Gojo assists with cleaning instructions. During this, Kitagawa realizes her crush on Gojo and blushes. Kaoru returns home with Miori and tells her why he tripped that day, which makes her laugh. When Kaoru sees Gojo holding the dress he made and Kitagawa standing beside him, he trips again into the living room. They usually talk about Kaoru's injury and the dress. Kitagawa's feelings for Gojo become clear, leaving her unsure of how to handle the situation. During dinner, the three discover each other's previous experiences with their respective parents' deaths. Kaoru invites Kitagawa to dinner every night, which she accepts. The two then part ways, Kitagawa thinking about a phrase Gojo said and looking forward to tomorrow's dinner. On a rainy day, a young girl seeks shelter at the Gojo residence and meets his grandfather Kaoru, who believes she is Gojo's friend. When Gojo returns home, he learns from his grandfather that he tricked a stranger into thinking she was Gojo's friend, which worries him because the person who entered could be a thief or a con artist. Later, Gojo approaches the visitor in the restroom and discovers she is naked. The girl almost screams at Gojo but stumbles and trips, displaying her best parts to him. That guy is exceptionally fortunate. Soon after, she introduces herself as Sejuna Inui, an older student from a different school, expresses interest and addresses Gojo. It causes Gojo to misunderstand and show her the Hina doll room. Still, Sejuna reveals her genuine interest in cosplay outfits and shows Gojo a picture of Kitagawa in his Shizuka-tan costume. Sejuna emotionally blackmails Gojo into making her a Juju cosplay costume, which Gojo recognizes as someone Kitagawa admires. Sejuna explains that she discovered Gojo through online stalking and discovered that he was the creator of the cosplay. And, despite his reservations, Gojo agrees to make the costume for her where he lives. Gojo receives a text message from Kitagawa informing her that she will arrive soon. When Kitagawa comes to Gojo's house, she is astounded by Sejuna's appearance and learns that Sejuna saw pictures of her cosplay. Sejuna requests that Gojo make her the Black Lily outfit from the Flower Princess Blaze anime series. Sejuna can buy an official outfit, but she prefers one that fits her perfectly. Kitagawa explains her knowledge of the anime series, prompting Sejuna to cry. She assumes that Kitagawa is a shallow cosplayer and announces that she plans to leave. When Sejuna asks if they're dating, she requests Gojo's contact information so she can stay in touch and send him information about the Black Lily outfit. Gojo, overcome with emotion, reveals that they aren't. Kitagawa is amused that Gojo doesn't have a girlfriend and invites her to cosplay with Sejuna, but she flatly declines. That's all there is to it for today. This rom-com anime is distinct from the others. What do you think will happen next in the story? Will it be a harem, or will Kitagawa finally admit her feelings? Thanks for watching. If this series is the most liked in my anime recap production, I will make a part 2. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to help me make more content.